That is some power.
Good life is a good, good life. Good life is a good, good life right now. Good life is a good, good life. Good life right now. Good life is a good, good life. Good life is a good, good life right now. Good life is a good, good life. Good life right now.
Welcome back to the channel. A few videos ago, I said I'm planning to stick on pump fuel with a stock ignition, and let's see, maybe we'll make it, maybe we won't.
I think we may have killed the coils on this run.
And of course, it didn't make it, but the FD, she woke right up, and by the second and third power run, we were at our target goal of about 300 kilowatts, and that's with a bit more in it. But there were some clear signs that the ignition system was kind of struggling to keep up. So Omar made the call to pull off the dyno early. And yeah, I'm gonna put up a video link if you wanna catch up with that dyno session. There's a lot of good content in there. Now, I'm gonna try to explain this the way I understand it. The internal combustion of a rotary engine is kind of similar to that inside a piston engine. Yes, I just said that. But if you can just think outside of the circle, inside a rotary engine, you've got a rotor and a rotor housing. And if you can think that the rotor is the piston and the rotor housing is kind of the cylinder inside a piston engine, this will make a little bit more sense. So it starts with an intake stroke. So there's an injection of fuel inside the rotor housing. And while the rotor rotates on the eccentric shaft, there's also a vacuum of air inside. So there's a mixture of air and fuel, which gets compressed as the rotor rotates up to a point where the spark plug will ignite the fuel, it'll start the power stroke, and then go the other way and eject the exhaust gases out of the exhaust system. It's just another piston engine with triangles. Now, sometimes with a weak spark, in my experience, I just felt like a slight hesitation, but in this case, on the dyno, it was actually misfiring, and with each power run, we were actually losing a bit of power. Could it have been heat? Yes, probably that the heat will affect all electrical components, make it less efficient. But could it also have been that it was a 20-year-old coil which died on the dyno? Yes, most likely. So tonight, we're going to be installing Raceonly's off-the-shelf IGN1A kit. And then in a few days' time, we're going to head back to the dyno. But let's get started on rip out the old ignition system. Some of you may have already seen my new bonnet, and it looks so good. I'm absolutely in love with the front end of the car again. But no, this bonnet didn't start off like this. I paid way too much for this bonnet. It was in terrible condition. And Chris from CGI Panel and Paint, huge thanks to Chris. He got it repaired, painted, and delivered back to me before 7's Day, which was really nice and special. I really like the design of the center vents in the REM 89 bonnet. And yeah, I just couldn't find a good replica. All of the replicas I had, like the Angry Panda one, the fitment was just terrible. So this Sabre one fits really well. And yeah, I haven't had to adjust any gaps yet. But once I do that, it'll be looking mint. Let's get into it. I've got the upper intake manifold off because we need access to remove the 3 ignition coils. So I've got the trailing there, second trailing, and also the leading ignition coil. We're also going to remove the harness and also this factory igniter. Alright, so I've got most of the stock ignition on the bench, and I just thought I'd quickly talk through the different components just in case you guys are diagnosing a spark issue. Now, the first thing we found on the dyno, and I knew this was the case, the spark plug leads, the heads, well, these leads are quite worn, and inside there's a metal clip which clips onto the spark plug. It's meant to lock it in place so there's not much movement. Now, if you don't get a perfect contact between the electrode and the spark plug lead, that is a source of resistance, and it's a possibility you're not going to get a full spark. This is the ignition coil harness. I've actually replaced this one. So this came from a wrecker, but this was better than the one I had in the car. But you want to check for splits in the wiring, which there are none. This looks okay. And of course, the ignition coils. Now, if I was to replace one with a brand new unit, I'd replace all three and possibly even the igniter as well. I believe you can test these, but I'm not going to dive into doing that because I know that we are already at the limit of the factory ignition system. And yeah, I'm planning on turning it up. I don't think this is going to do the job. So we are going to be upgrading to Raceonly's IGN1A setup. Now at the heart of this setup are these Haltech smart coils, and the reason why we are upgrading to these are because they are able to deliver a very strong and consistent spark. Now the reason why is we're battling high compression, we're battling lots of fuel in the cylinder, we want to be able to burn it all off, and I've heard of people getting these down to like a 10 AFR without losing spark. Something the factory ignition system just won't ever be able to do. Now, another reason for these Haltech smart coils is that you don't need an external igniter because each individual ignition coil has an igniter built in. So the packaging is really good, and it's all pre-assembled and fitted onto the Raceonly's bracket, which is designed to fit directly onto the passenger side chassis rail. Now with the rest of the kit, all the spark plug leads are labeled because they're different lengths, and you have this harness which is completely plug and play. So this connector goes into the engine harness where the igniter will normally sit. You've got 2 grounds and then the 4 connectors to those coils. It's as simple as that. And I've got the front of the FD jacked up because we're going to be installing the ignition kit from underneath. So there's a bit of an opening between the firewall and the subframe, which is where this ignition kit's going to live for the rest of its life. And it's probably the coldest part of the engine bay, yet still close to the spark plug, so it's just the perfect spot for them. So the spark plug leads are going to be nice and short. At this point in time, usually I'd be in the bin looking for the instructions, but they're digital, and yeah, the instructions are pretty clear on the mounting and the wiring. But yeah, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It reuses 3 of the existing bolts on the passenger side chassis rail to mount the bracket kit. Absolutely no drilling and modification to the car necessary to mount this. So I've got a GoPro down there. Hopefully it shows you guys exactly where it's mounted. Let's get into it. Well, that was easy. Took me all of 5 minutes, and the coils are sitting nicely in there. Now, I didn't get it between the subframe and the firewall, but there's another cavity that you will see between the 2 pickup points for the low control arm. It just lifts up straight in there and it's installed. So we're going to move on to wiring. Very straightforward as we saw before. But you've got a little connector here for the igniter, where the igniter used to go. Straight into there. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Click in there. I'm going to run this loom underneath the ABS pump, and you have 4 connectors, obviously for the coils, and 2 grounds, which will ground on the engine block. Everything is labeled, so you can't get this wrong. And the last thing, the 4 spark plug leads. Alrighty, so the installation's complete, and I've just been taking the time to tidy up everything going on here. So the ignition coils used to sit on top of the engine, just on there, and I've been able to remove that bracket and also the hard line for the fuel supply hose. So it kind of cleans up the engine bay a lot better, and now I can see the bare block and it looks good. I've put a new fuel supply hose, so yeah, just from the rail down to the hard line. And I want you guys to let me know if you want some content in relation to this. So I've always wanted to pull the engine harness out, delete what I don't need because, you know, it's no longer twin turbo. There's a lot of connectors just chilling there under the manifold. And then resheath it in something like Raychem's DR25. Kind of like a mil-spec harness, a mil-spec tucked harness. Let me know if you're interested in a video like that. So yeah, I'm booked in with Omar at Raceonly on Monday afternoon. It'll be interesting to see if this ignition kit helps us make more power. So I'll see you guys then. All right, just got in at Raceonly, and Omar said we could go for a ride in one of the cars.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
So of course I picked Flying 7. Yeah. I've really wanted to sit in this car for a long time, and Omar's done a few upgrades recently.
We have done a few upgrades.
So we'll talk through them shortly, but let's go for a ride.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
All right, we're good to go. So one of the mods maybe worth mentioning is what's in the middle there. Yeah.
Ooh.
So this used to have a sequential in it.
Yeah.
And
was that the Quaife you had?
It had a Quaife, 6-speed in it. And it was never very consistent, if I have to be honest. So we decided to do the DCT. And yeah, we literally finished this last Friday night. We wanted to race it at Roll Racing on Saturday, but still hadn't really tuned the gearbox yet, so we're doing it right now. Like right now, I've got a very basic bass tune in it. So we're currently in auto mode. As you can see, I'm not shifting or doing anything. It does everything. Obviously, if we want to have some fun, we'll put it in manual mode.
Yeah.
So easy, dude.
Street car.
Unbelievable.
That's awesome. Got the Mertec dash there.
Yeah. C1212. Everyone asks.
Yeah. Raceonly Doritos going around. So what adapter kit are you running for the Delta?
So there's a kit made in the US by a fella called Neil Adderley. I think he names it the Hotel 7 DCT kit. I actually flew over to the US to have fun in his car, so we tuned that and did what. So yeah, so these are all his kits. Yeah, they've been really good.
I just realised there's no Jesus handle on this.
There is definitely none. Once we cross the border, then we'll have a bit of fun. Yeah. I don't know how strong that handle is.
This one looks strong enough.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
So I just did some downshifting with the paddles there. You don't have to. So it's got the wireless paddles on there.
Ah, I see. So I was wondering how it was like a CAN output or something.
So it's got a wireless transmitter that sits on the backy, one under the dash.
Yeah.
And then it communicates it to the gearbox controller. All right.
Some power.
Yeah, that's 20 pounds of boost.
That's just 20.
That's 20 pounds of boost. Yeah. So that's the lowest power setting for this car.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything less than that. The high boost setting is like 35, 40 pounds of boost.
And what do you run at the rolls?
Rolls, we usually run the high boost.
Yeah.
But most of the time at rolls, we've never been able to get a run where we could shift all 6 gears with the sequential, but as you can see with the DCT,
of course,
it's nothing. So,
well, that was second to fourth?
Second to fourth, yeah. So she rolls out.
I can't believe it didn't smoke the tires.
Yeah, no, this thing fully hooks. So on this boost setting, it's very planted.
Yeah.
On the high boost, you can kind of you feel like dancing a little bit, but it doesn't spin. Because I'm a bit lazy.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
See? It's in D for drive.
It's in D now, so yeah.
So nice.
See, I mean, the car doesn't look too crazy from outside.
No, very, actually very stealthy.
Yeah. That was another.
You really could, I'm not kidding, you really could street this car.
Yes,
and
most definitely.
It drove like a nice automatic.
Yeah.
We used to be automatic, maybe we have to go back to auto as well. So these are twin G40s.
Twin G40 900s, yes.
Yeah.
I know that sounds extremely large, but it's kind of what we felt like it needed. This type of engine combo likes to rev really high. Like I think,
plates?
Yeah, it's got billet plates. It's got billet by pack plates. It's It's got 8 injectors, so 4 injectors per rotor.
Yeah. My hand's shaking.
Yeah.
There's no stabilization on this camera.
So we went to a really large front mount, so it's got a 5.5-inch Hypertune
Wow.
intercooler in there. It's a big boy.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just did what we did, and you'll touch that intercooler to be stone cold. It works, it does what it's supposed to. But yeah, like it's got air condition. Look, he's very fussy about it being streetable, and it has everything that it needs to be a road car. So we didn't cut corners in that aspect. It definitely has all the good stuff.
So it's running an R5, Nexus R5?
Yeah, it's got a Nexus R5. This car initially had a Motec in it, but we kind of went to something we were more comfortable with.
Sure.
And the Nexus is a tried and tested for us. So yeah, it's got a Nexus R5. It's got a PD16 as well.
And what's controlling the box?
So gearbox is controlled by a company called CAN TCU. Essentially what they do is they mimic all the OEM BMW stuff and grab all the data from the Haltech and do a pass through, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So this is a factory, non-modified, untouched BMW gearbox.
Did you need to upgrade the clutches?
We didn't touch anything.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The factory clutches on these should be good for 700 foot-pounds with this controller. So usually if you're going to go over that sort of torque level, then we'd probably do upgraded clutches. But at this point in time, it seems like we don't need them yet. At least we think we don't need them yet. So we're going to play it by ear.
Back on the dyno for the main event. And yeah, got the race plugs in. And what's left to do, Omar?
Pretty much make sure that the fuel mixture is where it's supposed to be. And that's pretty much it, and see what it makes. Maybe tickle it with a bit more boost. I don't know, I think it made, what did it make last time? I think
393 horsepower.
And it was creeping a little bit up top, like 15 pounds.
I was kind of happy with that, but it was breaking up.
I think as long as we get a clean pull, I reckon we'll be good.
It'd be interesting to see if it cleans up parts of the map.
Look,
we'll see.
I guess we'll find out. Look, I'll be honest with you, if the old coils were good, I don't expect to see a power gain with new coils because that doesn't really make sense. But yes, you're right, we might see more in the mid-range. Only one way to find out.
See what happens, eh? Let's go. Misfire is gone. Look at that. Just a linear pull all the way to 392. Sorted.
So we got good and bad news as always.
Yeah.
So the good news is our misfire is gone.
Yeah.
And it sounds very happy. And it wants to make more power. But I don't know if you heard it right at the top, we heard like a cutout sound, if you like.
Yeah.
That's our boost cut. There's no real way for me to push this to make any more grunt. And as long as it's boost creeping, I'd like to leave the extra fuel in the AFR until we either go to a different fuel or fix the wastegate. Right?
Fix the wastegate, yeah.
It'll probably make another 15 horsepower with another 500 RPM if the boost wouldn't creep. So we're not far off where it should be. The dyno doesn't show the same boost level as the ECU. It never does because they're not as fast, but you can see right at the top as it starts to run away up there. That's our previous 393 on with the factory coils.
Yeah.
So as you can see, with a richer fuel mixture than before, we're making more everywhere.
100%.
And it didn't rev as high
Everywhere.
either. So that was 7450.
7450?
Yeah.
That's not bad, to be
Yeah,
honest.
the same height, having the same climb, we'd
We'd
probably
be over
make
400.
We'd be like 405, I
Yeah.
reckon. I think that's got to be on record for the shortest dyno session ever.
Yeah, one run and done.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I'll
Yeah.
definitely take that as a win.
Good diagnosis on the coils.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I would be concerned if we did all that and
Hey, dude, sometimes it happens. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna,
that's
I
true.
don't always get it right.
yeah.
But I think experience definitely helped out here because we've just seen it so many times before.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys, I mean, you bolted the coil kit in, you did all the easy stuff, and here we are. So
Yeah, good result.
It doesn't get better than that. It's always nice when you can smack a part on, get a result.
That's right. And for me, I just want to get back on the track and get a feel for the car. It's a lot of power, more than I'm used to. So
Yeah.
we don't really need much more.
Okay.
Anyways, huge thanks to Omar. It was a whole lot of fun. And yeah, especially in Flying 7 today. But I guess we'll have to fix I reckon we'll fix the manifold. I do want to get boost control. Well, I just want to have more boost control.
I think so.
So we can run perhaps boost by gear and actually drop the boost pressure down.
One and done.
Let's go and drive the car. Anyways, it's too much traffic. I'm going to be sensible. I'm going to drive home. This car is running so well. It's so streetable. A huge thanks to Omar from Raceonly for pretty much advising me the whole way for this build. From start to finish, it was a process of about 18 months, mainly because of how slow it took me to run the car in. But now we have a very well-managed street car, which is fast. And I'm just really hoping to spend more time driving this car. And that's it for the video. I hope you guys like that one. If you like any of the content, make sure you subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.